Hi everyone, today I'm going to explain what is the assemblage sculpture by Henry Moore and the minimal. To understand what is the minimalist art, we have to know the concept of it. So according to the definition of minimalism for the Cambridge Dictionary, minimalism is a style in art, design, and theater that uses the smallest range of materials and colors possible, and only very simple shapes or forms. Minimalist art is a design style that emphasizes extremely simplicity, focusing on clean lines, minimalist color, and basic shapes, as I said before. Minimalist art does not contain an underlying meaning or more profound understanding like with the most of what we know as abstract art. So, where it started? This movement developed in the USA, specifically in New York, in the early 1960s, among artists who were self-consciously renouncing recent art they thought had become stale and what they say academic. The new art favored the cool over the dramatic, and their sculptures were frequently fabricated from industrial materials and emphasized anonymity over the expressive excess of, as I said, abstract art. Painters and sculptors avoid over symbolism and emotional content, but instead call attention to the materiality of the works. By the end of the 1970s, minimalism had triumphed in America and Europe through a combination of forces including museum curators, art dealers, and publication, plus new system of private and government patronage. So minimalism began with, as I said, with a group of artists, painters, and sculptors. So in the world like a house or a bottle or a snowy landscape. They made paintings and sculptures about the materials they used, like paint and wood and metal. So their artworks look like they might have been made in a factory. Over that decade, a group of artists emerged who made objects using a similar vocabulary to modernist architecture. Industrial materials that were geometric and cold, but with a totally different goal in mind. So, the characteristics of this movement are, first of all, repetition. Minimalist artists create multiple images of the same shape, especially simple geometric forms like lines and squares. Also, minimalism in music often features repetition and gradual variation. The second one is the geometric shape, where minimalist art makes good use of geometric and the use of elements and shapes in order to have the greatest expressiveness with the resources used. We also can say that minimalist paintings and sculptures always rely on geometric shapes. In particular, the square and rectangle are the most important forms used in this movement. The third one is the simplicity. Simple structure and appearance are some of the definitive characteristics of this type of art. The minimalist art style is typically characterized by, as I said before, geometric shapes, clean lines, or simple color combinations. Minimalism style is often regarded as more pure and streamlined than other art forms, with little or no visible brushes or brush strokes and clear distinctions between colors. The fourth one that we can notice is the use of color. Minimalist art focuses on expressionless colors, and early works tended to be monochromatic, limited to one color and related to hues, such as black, gray, and white. This makes the artwork more neutral in its approach, and the color does not become more than what it is. So the colors of minimalist art are not used to convey personal expression, but to convey impact in the work as it is. The five characteristic is that they are precise and hard-edged. There isn't any shading or subtle transition. This is why the square and rectangle are so popular, as they give this specific shape and hard edges. And the sixth one is the lack of expression. The minimalist artist does not reveal their personality or emotions in the artwork. When you stand in front of a minimalist painting, you won't see big ideas, complex subjects, or social agendas. The paintings are about geometry and color, and that's it. This art, it's for art rather than showing emotions. And the last one are industrial materials. And to minimalist art, materials were a crucial aspect of their artwork. Minimalist artists favored raw, unadorned, and often mass-produced materials, which demonstrated the rejection of the conventional ideas of craftsmanship and artistry. These minimalist artists often employed industrial materials such as metal, concrete, and glass to create their works, highlighting the material's inherent qualities and characteristics and their relationship with the surrounding environment. So let's talk about the minimalist sculptures. The minimalist sculptures aim to create an awareness of space in the viewer. The artworks were arranged thoughtfully to highlight and expose the architecture of the gallery, often displayed on walls, in corners, or directly on the floor. The minimalist sculptures deliberately rejected the conventional pedestal or base, effectively eliminating the traditional sculpture approach. And they regarded minimalist sculpture as just another object occupying space. By removing the barrier between the audience and the artwork, viewers were compelled to rethink their relationship with the artwork. So audiences could now interact with it at their own level, approaching, retreating, walking around it, and sometimes even standing on it. And the minimalist paintings, we can say that aside from sculptures, minimalism is also associated with a few key abstract painters such as Frank Stella, Elwood Kelly, Agnes Morin, and Robert Ryman. These artists painted simple canvases that were considered minimal due to their bare bones, often geometric compositions. Using only one line, solid color, and sometimes geometric forms and shaped canvases, these artists sometimes combine painting materials in such a way that questioned the traditional dichotomy between artistic media by making paintings that could also be considered objects in their own right because of the bulkiness of the canvas support and the non-traditional shapes of the paintings. So, the Assemblage sculpture by Henry Moore. Henry Moore, he was born in Castleford, Yorkshire, in 1898 as the son of a coal mining engineer. He was the seventh of 8 children in his family. He won a scholarship to a Castleford secondary school, where his art teacher influenced him strongly. During these years, Moore began craving in wood and modeling clay, and he consciously decided to become a sculptor after hearing of Michelangelo's achievement at the age of 11. He was in the army for 2 years, then studied at Leeds School of Art and the Royal Academy of Art in London on a scholarship in 1921. Throughout his long career, he experimented with many styles, including abstract art and biomorphic. In 1936, he took part in the International Surrealist Exhibition. His primary concern, however, has been with the human figure. In 1942, he became an official wall artist. In 1946, had first retrospective of his work at the MoMA, New York. And from 1960 to 1970s, exhibits and opening his own museum gained him worldwide recognition as a sculptor. And he died at the age of 88 in England in 1986. So this is one of Henry Moore's sculptures. Henry Moore followed 3 major themes. The first one, as we can see in the bottom of the picture, it's the reclining figures. This sculpture resembles a reclining female from leaning on one arm, a nod towards the art historical tradition for recommend female nudes. However, Moore's sculpture was radical in its day for its playful, surreal interplay between realism and abstraction. Moore also demonstrates his fascination with the relationship between solids and voids. Open space filters through the center of the sculpture and skeletal, bone-like forms contrast with larger areas of weight and solidity. So this is the first one. The second one, as we can see at the bottom, at the right bottom of the picture, this is the sculptor of a family group as a public commission for the British New Town Harlow. Rather than a direct portrait, we can say, the sculptor is a universal symbol for family unity in post-war of Britain. In therefore reflected widespread cultural aspiration for security and stability. The sculpture was particularly fitting for Harlow, which locals of the time called Pram Town, for its particularly high birth rate. While the work is less abstract than many of Moore's artworks, it still echoes the same smooth surface and weight solidarity of all his art. Carved from Haddon stone, the artwork is a key example of more direct craving, in which he worked intuitively with materials towards the final outcome. And the last one, it's a little bit abstract, but it's the mother and the child. The smallest figure is the child, and the biggest one is the mother. So, on the one hand, he referenced the artist's historical and biblical tradition of the subject, but he was also deeply fascinated by the concept of inner and outer forms, and how to create a visual dialogue between them. Henry Moore made this smooth, richly tactile, marble sculpture for St. Paul's Cathedral, London, in 1983. And he presents the 3 stages of motherhood here, from conception to gestation and parenting. So they all reveal themselves in abstracted forms as we move slowly around the sculpture. And from my part, that's it. I hope that you understand the subject. And yes, thank you.